Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2022 round previews. Yes, here we are for another round preview, and this time it is going to be another massive round preview. 5 rounds to go in the season, 5 more rounds to preview, plus finals. It is going to be really exciting times. So 5 massive rounds coming up. 9 massive games coming up in this round. Let's not waste any time. Round 19 preview, here we go. So at round 18, we're going to have a look at what that had for us before we start our round 19 preview, as we normally do. The Doggies got over the Saints by 28 points. The Pies got over the Crows by 5. The Lions got over the Giants by 40. The Roos got over the Tigers by 4. The Cats got over the Blues by 30. The Swans got over the Dockers by 17. Hawks over the Eagles by 25, Demons over the Power by 14, and the Bombers over the Suns by 48. So really exciting round coming up, really big games for multiple clubs, and there's obviously more chances for 4 premiership points and percentage for some teams, well, percentage in every game. So let's just go ahead, hop right into things. Starting off, round 19 is a Friday night blockbuster at Marvel Stadium. The ground, in other words, that Richmond hate Marvel Stadium. Richmond don't like playing there. Richmond versus Fremantle. Now, if this was at the MCG, it'd be a whole different story. Richmond play there very well. But because it's at Marvel, it is a very different story. Now, Fremantle, they sit 4th. Richmond sit 8th. This is a real danger game for, well, both teams, really. Both teams were pretty poor last week. And Richmond, they need this win to stay in touch with the top 8. Their top 4 hopes are gone. The Dockers, their top 4 hopes are also hanging on by a thread, so they need to win this game pretty desperately. Again, Richmond sit 8th, Fremantle sit 4th. Now, Richmond had a really shocking loss to North Melbourne last week, and the Dockers had a really shocking loss to Sydney last week. 2 games that I would have expected Richmond and Fremantle to have won last week, and alas, no, that didn't happen. So I think this one is going to be... This game is really looking for the team that can bounce back better. And the team, for me, is the Dockers. And I don't think the Dockers will just win this game. I reckon they're going to win it by 4 goals or 24 points. Pretty big win for them to boost a little bit of percentage and keep their top 4 hopes alive. And for Richmond, this is going to deal some damage to their finals aspirations. North Melbourne versus Hawthorne is the first game on the Saturday at Blunston Arena. And I didn't really believe I was going to say this, but this is North Melbourne's chance to pick up another win here. They can pick up another win versus Hawthorne at Blunston Arena. And they did win, was it 20? I reckon it was 2021. They did win here at Blunston Arena against this very team, Hawthorne. So it can happen again. And North Melbourne, there's more percentage of people are going to be going with them this week because of how good they were last week. And the past couple of weeks, they've been pretty good. Now, North, they sit 18th on the ladder. They'll be looking to get out of the bottom spot. Hawthorne sit 13th on the ladder. And their season's looking pretty respectable. And this would be another pretty good win if they were to pick this one up. They beat them in round 1. Will they be able to beat them? Here's the question. And I think they will. I reckon they will be able to beat them. Their performance against West Coast was pretty good, was Hawthorne. And I think they'll be able to win this game. Not by a lot. I think North will really test them, though. And I think they'll win by 7 points in a really exciting game of footy. Now to the second 145er at the SCG between Sydney versus Adelaide. And I'll tell you, this game is massive for Sydney in 2 ways. Need the points, need percentage. Look, they'll be wanting their percentage to be looking as healthy as possible. Now, again, though, percentage isn't the biggest worry, but they need to go out there and pick up the points. That is their main concern against an Adelaide team that is always hungry and is always willing to try. And try they will. Adelaide will try. I will 100% guarantee they will try, but it depends on whether they'll try hard enough, and up to Sydney's try rate will determine whether they'll win or not. And Adelaide, they sit in 16th spot and could potentially be in the bottom 4. And yeah, I think Adelaide will probably end up finishing in the bottom 4. They haven't had a great season, so I reckon they might finish in the bottom 4, unfortunately enough for them. And Sydney, their chances, they've got a top 4 chance. They've got pretty reasonable fixture in the next few weeks, and this is a game they simply must pick up the points in, and I think they will easily do it. Sydney sits 6th, Crows sit 16th. I think Sydney will end up winning this game. by 50 points and pick up some percentage along the way as well. Port Adelaide versus Geelong. Now, this is a massive game of footy. Could perhaps be one of the games of the round as well. Port Adelaide, they sit 11th on the ladder. The Cats sit first. Is it the Adelaide Oval? So Port Adelaide are a chance to win. They could definitely win. But again, the Cats, they're trying to lock away a minor premiership hope and try and go a game clear on top of the table. How good would that be for the Cats if that was to happen? They'd be very happy with that. And for Port Adelaide, this is their last roll of the dice. Now, again, if all results go their way, if Richmond lose, if Western Bulldogs and St Kilda and Gold Coast all lose, well, then again, we're just back to the same stalemate that we had last round, heading into this round. So we're back into that same stalemate. So if they lose this, every other result will have to simply go their way if they want to make the top 8 from here. This one is a must-win, though, I'd say, regardless of how other results go. No, it doesn't matter whether all teams lose. They need to get on to 36 points as well, do Port Adelaide. And that's not going to happen in this game, I don't think. I think the Cats will win by 24 pretty comfortably and will continue their run for the minor premiership. Now, Brisbane versus Gold Coast, Q-Clash, Saturday night footy. Really important game for Gold Coast and Brisbane, both trying to lock away. Well, Gold Coast trying to get into the finals, Brisbane trying to lock away a top 4 spot. The Gabba is the perfect place to do this. Full strength team. Brisbane sit 12th. Sit 3rd. Gold Coast sit 12th. Gold Coast, just like Port Adelaide, you can literally just rerun the clip and just change the words from Port Adelaide to Gold Coast. Have to win this game. Doesn't really matter how all results go. Have to win the game. Have to get on to 36 points to make finals. Otherwise, their season will be over. And Brisbane, I think they'll just be too strong and will win this game by a pretty comfortable margin. Now, the Doggies take on the Demons on the second Saturday night footy game. Doggies sit 9th. Demons sit 2nd. Is it Marvel? Grand final rematch. Another really exciting and important game. Now, Melbourne, if the Cats do go on and win and they lose this game, there'll be breathing space between the Cats and the rest of the comp, but not a lot of breathing space between the Demons and the rest of the comp. This will bring the Demons right back onto the same page as every other team, bar the Cats, if they are to win this, if they are to lose this game. So, big stakes. The Western Bulldogs, obviously, they're still trying to make the 8 as well, so they need to win this game. And I think they'll be able to hold it. I think the Dogs might actually be able to give this game a relatively good crack, but I do think the Demons will just be way too strong and will go on to win by, again, another pretty comfortable margin. I think I said 27 points for that. I think the Demons will just be too strong and will win pretty comfortably in a game that could really be that knockout blow for the Western Bulldogs come the end of the year. And now Melbourne, they'll go on and equal the Cats if they get the job done, the Cats. Now to the Sunday games of footy where Carlton take on GWS. Carlton are 7th, GWS are 15th. And Carlton, this is their chance to pick up percentage as well. Is it Marvel? This is their chance to pick up percentage if they can play well. And they bet the Dockers at Marvel fair few weeks ago in round 15. They come back. And I think this is their perfect chance for percentage. They need percentage here. They need to first of all pick up the 4 points, which I think they'll be able to easily do. The Giants aren't a great side. And then I think they need to definitely pick up percentage out of this game as well. They need to be looking for a 40, 50-point win, and I think they'll easily get the job done at Marvel. I don't think the Giants will have any chance in this game. I think Carlton will lead from the bounce and will always play well in this game and will win pretty comfortably and pick up a pretty good amount of percentage from this game. Now, to the second last game of the round, Collingwood versus Essendon at the MCG. This looms as a danger game for Collingwood. Essendon, we know the form they've been in the past few weeks. They've beaten some pretty good teams like St Kilda. They beat Gold Coast. They beat Sydney. So they've been able to beat some really quality opponents in the past few weeks and will keep doing that. They've been playing really well. They've got a few more games to come against some really important top sides. Richmond, Port Adelaide, Collingwood. So they've got some really big games coming up against some really big sides. And Essendon's job now is to eliminate teams. This can be a real big blow for Collingwood if Essendon are to win this game for their top 4 aspirations, especially on percentage. And this is no chance to pick up percentage here for Collingwood. I think Essendon will give it their red-hot crack and really give it a go and really be a chance in this one. And Collingwood sit 5th, Essendon sit 14th. Collingwood have a great record in close games. I think they'll continue their close record, their good record in close games, and they'll win a close one by 9 points. That'd be their third. I think that'd be their third consecutive close game in a row. Might be even more than that. But I think the Bombers will really try. I think it's going to be a really exciting game with lots of different lead changes. I think the Pies will be the better of the sides in the end. West Coast versus St Kilda is the final game of the round at Optus Stadium. And again, danger game for St Kilda. West Coast are a red-hot chance in this one as well. And they played all right versus Hawthorne last week, but didn't do anything special. Last time they played at Optus, they played Carlton, and they played okay for the first half, and then, they were gone from there on. So they need to put up a four-quarter performance if they want to beat St Kilda this year at this ground. And unfortunately enough, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's going to be an absolute ripper of a game. And I think the Eagles will lose by 4 points. The Eagles sit 7th, the Saints sit 10th, but I think the Eagles will lose by 4 points. The Saints will win by 4 points, and that'll be massive stuff for them. So let's go ahead and go back over the round. So I've been tipping. I've tipped Fremantle. I've tipped Hawthorne. I've tipped Sydney. I've tipped Geelong. I've tipped Brisbane. I've tipped Melbourne, Carlton, Collingwood, and St Kilda with some really big games. So now, obviously, what games, if you want to watch some footy this weekend, what games would I be recommending? I reckon some of the games around will be including Richmond versus Fremantle, North versus Hawthorne. Port Adelaide Geelong should be an interesting game as well. I reckon the Doggies and the Demons, and then definitely Collingwood versus Essendon and West Coast versus St Kilda. There's some really ripping games coming up this round. All of them are going to mean a lot though. And now we'll go ahead and do something really quickly. We'll go ahead and have a look at my ladder, how I think it's going to end after the round. I normally do that in tipping, and we'll be re-going over it here. So the ladder after round 19, I have Geelong and Melbourne being equal top of the table. I have Brisbane, Fremantle and Collingwood being 3rd, 4th and 5th respectively. I have Sydney and Carlton sitting 6th and 7th. With Carlton, I've tipped them to gain 4%, which would be absolutely massive. The Saints are in 8th after their win over West Coast, if that does happen. I think it will though. And then their run home from here does get incredibly tough. I think Richmond and the Western Bulldogs will be in 9th and 10th. 9 and 9 points. Now again, Richmond, if they lose versus Fremantle by a hefty margin, they will leak percentage. The Western Bulldogs, they'll be in 10th. Port Adelaide and Gold Coast will be in 11th and 12th. And then Hawthorne will only be a game behind Port Adelaide and Gold Coast on 7-11. And then I think Essendon will be in 14th, 6 and 12. And then the bottom 4, GWS, Adelaide, 5-13 each. West Coast and North, 2-16 on the bottom. But that's how I see this round going. And I think it's a really big round of footy. I think there's many different games that could really be going either way. This is how I see it playing out, though. And, yeah, what a finals race we have. And, yeah, I think this win, if St Kilda do claim the 4 points in the West, that's going to have a really big say on the end of the year. So, obviously, it's a massive round coming up. Well, that's going to be it for today's round preview. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so then you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So, bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.